Folks, happy Tuesday, everybody. Here's hoping your morning is starting off fantastic. Thanks for joining us here for Wake Up Charlotte to go after the show. This morning, talking about mask mandates. It seems like that's what everybody's talking about this morning. At this point, it looks like Charlotte is going to follow the lead of places like Boone. Boone was the first town in our area, and then also Raleigh, Asheville, to enforce a mask mandate. As in, we go back to the way it was back several months ago, of where basically anywhere you go in public, you got to put on a mask. And this applies to vaccinated or unvaccinated people. In Charlotte, it's supposed to start tomorrow, we believe, and it looks like it will happen in the rest of Mecklenburg County sometime in the next week and a half, 10 days, something like that. So as you can imagine, lots of folks feel strongly about this. Let us know what you think. Do you think these mask mandates work? Do you think they're a good idea? Do you think there are other ways? Let us know and chime in here with us.
Yeah, I was looking at Hunter's tweets from last night as he covered this. And also a lot of people may not realize a spokesperson from Meck County saying this includes gyms. You're going to have to wear your mask again in the gyms. They are not excluded from this mandate. So let us know how you feel about that. I know a lot of people that I know anyway weren't wanting to wear a mask in the gym. They were hoping if they were going into a restaurant or a government facility or the grocery store, they would put on their face mask. But I know people have really strong feelings when it comes to working out, doing those workout classes, trying to stay in shape after a year of this pandemic or longer now, and wearing a face mask at the gym. Also this morning, we talked about a lot of counties, Gaston, Cabarrus, Burt County, reversing their mask policy with kids going back to school. Let us know, what is your child's district doing? How do you feel about it? Ben, I told you we're in Union County. They still have masks optional, but we had an event last night. My daughter's starting kindergarten, and I was surprised the majority of people there had on their face mask. Obviously, we've been covering this Delta variant. COVID cases are spiking and increasing. This morning, you said we saw the largest hospitalization of kids in the hospital, which is really scary for me as a parent. I know a lot of parents out there as well. But I think a lot of people are taking note and choosing to wear their face mask too.
I will say I went to the Spectrum Center over the weekend for an event, and face masks not required there. I saw a handful of people without them, and I also saw a few people with them. But Charlotte Knights, they're now requiring masks for indoor facilities. And just reading up on some of the articles we've been posting on WCNC Charlotte, at this point, you know, when we find out more tomorrow, if you do not comply with wearing masks, obviously you'll have to leave. Or police at this point can have an option to charge someone with trespassing. So obviously we're going to be hearing more about this and definitely talking about it on the show tomorrow. I'm pretty sure going to be a top discussion, but a lot of people, you know, definitely going to sound the alarm with this. But as these cases rise and Delta variant becomes to, you know, continue to be a problem, this is what we could see at businesses more and more across the county and in Charlotte.
Here's the frustration, though, is that I feel like even if you're very pro-mask and you're like me and you don't mind wearing them if necessary, the problem is police have a lot more important things to do in the city of Charlotte than enforce a mask mandate. And so then you know who it falls on? Some of these small businesses. Well, these small businesses will be the first to tell you they have a lot of other things to worry about than trying to enforce a mask mandate. And so it becomes this thing that barely becomes enforceable because there's not a great mechanism in place to enforce it at these local businesses. They already have their hands full. They've already been struggling through this pandemic. So even if you support the mask mandate, it makes it difficult to sometimes enforce. Which brings us to the other question. I asked folks on Twitter this morning, at this point, what do you think is the most effective way to sort of stop the spread of COVID in public places? Do you think it's a mask mandate, or do you think instead do something like what New York City and New Orleans are doing and have vaccine verifications for any indoor space? Do you think we should be doing both of those things, or maybe nothing at all? There are those folks who I see and I interact with every day on social media who don't think we should be doing the vaccines, masks, anything. They basically say, hey, let's just let it run. I don't think most people feel that way, but some people do. So let us know what you think is really going to be the most effective way of handling this sort of situation.
Melissa saying Union County needs to reverse their decision. It's careless to risk your child's life. Charlotte saying we always wear a mask until this is over. Doug, ready now for it. So, we've been talking about these districts here, but obviously we all know in South Carolina, they have a law where you cannot mandate masks regardless of what the school wants to do. I have a friend who went to a back to school orientation there at a gym, jam-packed gym, and not a single person with a face mask on. And I do think that this summer, maybe that would have been okay, but now I just think it's just all too similar to me and so many people of what happened, a year ago, where this was case after case, and now we're seeing such a high surge. Again, we're seeing the highest number of hospitalizations. I believe it was 1,900 kids in the hospital with COVID. So I think it has a lot of people reassessing and rethinking, just trying to do what's the right thing for the school, what's the right thing for their business, because we don't want another lockdown. We don't want our kids to be sent home. We don't want businesses to struggle. We want places to stay open. And so I think a lot of people, like Ben, like what you said with your Twitter poll, what is the most effective way to keep everything open? Is it checking if you got your vaccine before you came in? Is it wearing face masks? Of course, but now we know with this virus, the more people get it, the more it mutates. It kind of turns into these different variants. And so now we've seen, I don't even know how much longer we're going to call them breakthrough cases, because I feel like we keep hearing about so many people that have had the vaccine and now are getting the virus.
Well, speaking of that poll, Dina DiOrio did say on Monday that the vaccine mandate or vaccine verification approach for entry to certain establishments was never on the table, that the mask mandate was the most important option right now. And it looks like if that doesn't work, they will go back to the table to see what other options are available. But as of right now, Monday, she did say that that vaccine mandate was not something that they were discussing as far as entrance to certain places, like we were seeing in New York, and how we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, when that was a big discussion and brought to the table.
Unfolding right now in the comments section, I just want to highlight some conversations that's happening between Dolores and Jamie. Dolores made the statement that children are less susceptible to it than anyone or anything, scare tactics. With due respect to you, Dolores, 20% of the cases here in Mecklenburg County right now are kids. With due respect to you, Dolores, hospitalizations for kids and COVID are at the highest they've been this entire pandemic. So while you might be told that from some folks in some media that it's not happening with kids, it's simply not the case. And we don't know yet whether that's because it's the Delta variant. We don't know if it's because kids are heading back into the classroom. We don't know exactly what it is. And it's true that leading up to this point, it certainly seemed like kids were less susceptible, but they are making up for a larger percentage of the cases we're seeing just in the last few weeks, right here and specifically in Charlotte. The health department released those numbers yesterday. Half of all the new cases are people under 40. So for whatever the reason, and there are a variety of reasons, this seems to be acting differently than it did in the past. And Jamie, you're acknowledging that as well in that comment. They're getting infected because of maskless people who refuse to get vaccinated. Also, they made up 23% of the cases in July. Yep. That's right. Tanya says if it helps North Carolina from another shutdown, I'm all for it. Way to go, Charlotte. Tanya outlines honestly what I feel like is the argument, of everything. If we don't want to shut down, which I think is what most people don't want to shut down, then what about vaccinations? And if you don't want vaccinations and you don't want shutdown, what about masks? And if you don't want any of the three of those, then I think some people are wondering if you're really dealing honestly from a place of good faith when it comes to trying to stop this spread of this pandemic.
Melissa saying we sent kids home in March of 2020 with 1,300 cases nationwide. Now they want me to send mine mask optional. No. And so I think a lot of parents are expressing the same opinion as Melissa. Some, no, like Ben, you said, some they don't want masks for sure on the kids. Matthew saying, where is the vaccine mandate? Angela saying Union County isn't masking, going back to school. So glad our kids. Okay, so she's for. Yeah. So we're seeing both sides for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of
Matthew asking, where is the vaccine mandate? He's asking actually, as Ruby alluded to, it doesn't seem like our leaders have an appetite for that at this point. But, we'll see where we stand, a few months from now. That might change for sure. Continue to weigh in. Let us know what you think about this mask mandate. Like I say, it's happening in several cities across North Carolina, now happening here in Charlotte, it looks like, and in Mecklenburg County. Weigh in. Let us know what you think. Let's see you back here for the news at 11:30. Have a great day, everybody.